Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Energy MD podcast, where we help you resolve your chronic fatigue, whether it's from long COVID or ME/CFS, chronic fatigue syndrome, naturally, so that you can get back to living your best life. So, as you've heard me talk before, we talk a lot about the toxic five, this combination of heavy metals, chemicals, molds, infections, and nervous system dysfunction that are really the root causes of these issues. So, I'm really excited today because we're going to be talking with somebody who specializes in understanding the toxicity that's found in your cosmetics and your skincare products, etc. And so let's learn a little bit about Trina. We're going to be talking with Trina Felber today. So she is the mother of the clean beauty movement and founder of Primal Life Organics. She empowers women to embrace natural beauty while achieving optimal health. With over 16 years of expertise, Trina teaches women to craft their own premium hormone-safe skincare. Through the Holistic Health and Beauty Reset program, she guides clients to radiant, youthful skin with non-toxic ingredients and advanced beauty tools. As a best-selling author of Beauty's Dirty Secret, Trina shares practical, science-backed solutions that enhance beauty without compromising health. Join her to unlock your best, most vibrant self through clean beauty. Trina, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you. I'm super excited to talk with you again today, especially about this topic.
Yeah, we find that, this is one of those topics that's quite challenging for folks. They don't realize how many toxins they're exposed to on a regular basis just with their skincare products. And they don't realize how much of an issue it is actually and how it can affect hormones and fatigue and etc. So tell us first about the problem. How many of these toxins are we exposed to? Like, why is this an issue that we should be discussing today?
It's a huge problem. When you Google, and I did this for years, you Google how many toxins, especially women. Men are exposed to toxins too, but let's be real. Men don't use as many products as women do. So men aren't quite as toxic as women, and women primarily control the purchasing of these types of products for the whole house, including kids and men. But when you Google it, Dr. Google will tell you it's around 167 chemicals every day that women are exposing themselves to. They tell you that women use about 12 products a day. When I do the math, because I believe that statistic is really old, and I do know now that even from 10 years ago, products are being made with more chemicals in them. There's more, a higher toxic level, as well as packaging and, all of the fertilizers and the pesticides and that type of waste that can contaminate the products as well. So when I redid the math just recently, I figured that women are using somewhere between 20 and 25 products a day, because you have to include makeup, hair products, dental products, body, including deodorant, and then, of course, face products. So women are using about 20 to 25 products every day. And when you look at what's hiding, where some of these toxins are hiding, that most ratings companies, including the EWG, aren't looking at, I'm estimating that there's around 30 to 50 chemicals in every product. So women can technically be exposing themselves to 500 or 600 chemicals every single day. That's huge. And especially when you think about kids, because kids don't use as many products, but it's a big number. It's a big number.
I think that I agree with you. I think the number that I had heard was 500 different chemicals before you get out of the door in the morning.
Right. Oh, yeah. 100%. Yeah. And those, most of them are hormone disruptors, and why there's so many women of all ages. I'm not even talking, I'm talking infertility is on the rise, women experiencing menopausal symptoms early or really bad menopausal symptoms all the way through life. But hormone disruptors, neurotoxins, cancer-causing ingredients, heavy metals, all sorts of things that are in these, products that we just unknowingly are putting on our bodies every single day. And then we wake up and we have fatigue and brain fog and all the symptoms, if you're menopausal, the night sweats and all of that. And no one's really looking at what we're putting on our skin. and trying to detox those out of your system, out of your habits, and then seeing how you feel. Because why should we, as professionals, be treating women for hormone imbalances if we're not going to get rid of a root cause of
Mhm.
something that could be causing these symptoms or making them worse?
Yeah, that's a big time mic drop right there. So for people who are listening who are having hormonal issues or they're menopausal or they're getting bioidentical hormones, whatever it is, and you're not addressing the fact that you're disrupting your hormones, um, that's a big issue. You gotta get back to looking at the root cause.
Yeah, totally. I know for myself, before I made my swap and switches, I didn't even think about it. The brain fog, the memory loss, the overwhelming fatigue, the headaches, weight gain, all of those things. We were just told, I was in my 30s. Oh, this is just part of getting older. This is just, and then you hit, menopause age, and you're just told that you just have to deal with it.
Mhm.
But as soon as I made the swap, it doesn't take long. You detox these things out of your body. Truly, it takes about a year, if you do it the right way and for a full detox. But you can start feeling better right away. And my symptoms went away. And, when I went through menopause, I didn't even have any menopausal symptoms. I had detoxed for 10 years. So it really does make a huge impact. I've had women who have detoxed and very quickly they can go down on autoimmune medications. And I had a woman who was on narcolepsy medications and she was like going down on her doses and she was just blown away at the impact of the stuff she was using every day. And she didn't even think about it.
Brilliant. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that, when you're talking about autoimmune medications, anything that's in the body that's not supposed to be there can trigger the immune system to react to it, right? And then it becomes hyperreactive to everything. So you get immune system dysfunction, you get mitochondrial dysfunction, you're damaging the mitochondria when you're consuming these products, which make 70 to 90% of our energy. So you end up fatigued. So yeah, just a very important topic. Hopefully everybody understands that just a couple minutes into this, how important this topic is. So then let's go into what the next step is. So people realize that this is a problem now. What's the next step that they should do?
Well, the first thing you have to understand how to read a skincare label. You have to start reading your labels. And even if you don't know what you're looking for yet, it's just like when you go to the grocery store. I know for myself, and I've taught my kids, if it's not something that's in its natural form, if it has an ingredient list, you need to read it and you need to read it on a regular basis because things change. Like we've been buying some brands for years and all of a sudden I read that there was, guar gum in something that we'd been using that we didn't even it wasn't in there before. So, companies get sold, recipes or formulas change. And so you always have to flip it over. And it's no different for your skincare products. So start looking at the ingredients. And when you don't recognize something as a plant, then most likely it's a synthetic ingredient or a chemical. And even synthetic ingredients aren't very good for your skin because your skin can't necessarily, your body can't necessarily use those in the way that they can use the exact same types of whatever that would be, whether it be a vitamin or something from a natural source. So it's always better to get it from the natural source. So the first step, and going back a little bit, why is this so important? Your skin is your largest organ. It's the organ that you can see. So it's reflective of what all your other organs may look like or may be going through. So when you have age spots, liver spots, symptoms, dry skin, those types of symptoms, redness, irritations, it's just a signal of what's going on inside your body, whether it be your gut, because your gut has a large impact on what your skin looks like, but also what's going on with your other organs. But your skin will absorb about 60% of what you put on it within about 30 seconds. And so the difference between eating something through your natural gut, your mouth, your skin is your second gut. So absorbing something or eating something through your mouth, your body has a protective organ called the liver. First pass through the liver is supposed to remove the majority of the toxins from your blood. However, when you absorb it through your second gut, these toxins through your skincare go into your bloodstream. This is venous blood that goes back to your lungs to be reoxygenated, then directly to your heart. And your heart is going to pump these this blood filled with whatever you absorbed throughout your body, and it's very little is going to go to your liver. So that's the big difference between, your first gut and your second gut, is that your skin, when you absorb these chemicals within about 60 seconds, and we know this because, when someone comes into the ER, my background's in nursing, when someone comes into the ER with chest pain, we slap on some nitroglycerin paste on their skin. And very quickly we watch the monitor and we watch the heart rate and blood pressure come down. So in about 60 seconds, these toxins or beneficial things, it depends on what you're using, are traveling throughout your body. And that's like a huge impact of what you use. So whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, it's going to be getting in your body and, causing either, benefits, or it's going to be causing some inflammation or detrimental, issues in the future.
Well, it's so important to remember. Yeah, our skin is like a major barrier with the outside world, but it seems like it's really not much of a barrier anymore, especially when you were saying 60% of what you put on it is end up absorbed in like 30 seconds. And I would imagine that's probably worse now with a lot of the nanoparticles that are in these products and whatnot. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that the nanoparticles, which basically means they're small enough that they can pass through the skin, but most of them have to be attached to a lipid or an oil based. So if the other piece of the problem is that many of these skincare companies, because they're chemically based, they're mostly synthetic and chemicals that are in the products, they have to put in absorption enhancers. So these absorption enhancers, of course, are going to cause problems with your hormones. They can cause inflammation in the body, and they can be neurotoxic as well. But these absorption enhancers what the goal is to get whatever the good stuff is, the active ingredient, through your skin. But it's not just going to increase the absorption rate of the good stuff. It's of course going to help pull in faster and larger quantities of the bad stuff as well. And because I've formulated my own products and skincare, and I understand what goes into products and how you make these products, I can see with reading, when I'm looking at skincare, very easily I can see when a company is basically chemical based or if it's a natural based product. And most consumers have no idea, but the marketing of these companies is brilliant because they're only telling you what you want to hear. So there's a lot of greenwashing. Companies will call themselves clean beauty. They'll call themselves green, natural, organic. These are all buzzwords. I remember it wasn't too long ago, I was scrolling through Instagram and there was a deodorant that looked really nice. Like it looked really good. It was, of course it looks like it's natural. And the way that they did the ad looked natural. And they marketed it as natural and organic or clean beauty. That's what they said, clean beauty. So I was like interested. So I tapped on the ingredients. And the very first ingredient was propylene glycol, which is antifreeze. And so, I'm not your average consumer who's going to do that. So and of course, all the reviews, women leaving reviews, oh my gosh, I just bought this. This is so, makes me want to cringe because I know what it's doing to their hormones. I know what this ingredient and this product, because it's marketed this way and it's being sold to you this way, most women have no idea what they're even buying. And that's what makes me sick. So that's my mission and my passion, is to help women. And it's simple. Understand what you're getting so you can simply look at that, get used to go into the ingredient list, know exactly what to look for, and go, nope, not for me. It's not worth my time, my money, my health, or my beauty.
Brilliant. Great mission. So
Thank you.
people start reading labels and they notice that these products are not plant-based. I mean, Target, Walmart, I mean, like they could be going to lots of different places. I used to send people to Environmental Working Group, but now you're telling me that that's not a good place to go. I guess let's start there. Why isn't the Environmental Working Group, Skin Deep, Think or Dirty or whatever it is, why is that app not a good one?
Yeah, EWG is what people sometimes refer to it as well. And then there's another one, Yucca. Well, I think it's YUCA. Yeah, to the average consumer, you're going to look at it and you're going to believe what they're telling you. But when I look at the ingredients, I see the hidden the hidden toxins that they're not even taking into account. So for instance, on the EWG, if there's water listed in an ingredient, they don't even include it as like any kind of, they don't even include it in a rating. They're giving it no rating. But water is typically tap water. In most products, it's tap water. And tap water can be, or is, we know it's contaminated with drug waste. So you have to think about what are the top drugs people are on. Birth control pills, right? There's your hormone disruptors for sure, especially with infertility on the rise. You've got antidepressants, diabetic medications, heart medications, all sorts of things, antibiotics. All of these things can be in your skincare products, and almost every product is made with water. So it's not necessarily a bad thing if you're using one product that has water in it, but when you're constantly using products every single day and everything you're using has tap water in it, not only are you getting drug waste, but you're also getting heavy metals because it's contaminated with heavy metals and other types of contaminants as well. So looking at the EWG, you can't rate that as something that's not toxic, because you don't even know what's in water. They also don't even consider packaging, what the product is packaged in. And if it's packaged in plastic, which the majority of products are packaged in plastic, there's a probability that the BPA and other types of chemicals that are making up plastic will leach into your products, especially over time, because most products have a long shelf life. So over that shelf life, products are going to be contaminated with, whatever their packaging is. And plastic is going to have a lot of chemicals that are going to leach into your products. The other one is non-organic ingredients that they're not even looking at. So even if you have a product that is oil-based or plant-based, if it's made with conventional grown plants, you could have some contaminants from pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, glyphosate, those types of things. But you also have to know the quality of those plants, the way they're processed. Most of them are low quality. So you're not going to get the nutritional value from a non-organic plant like you would from an organic plant. So those are the big three problems with the EWG. But when, my clients, I teach them super simple ways, and they don't ever have to rely on the EWG or yucca or think dirty ever again. And it's so empowering. It's so, it makes you feel so good to, go somewhere. And if you pick up a product, whether you're at Whole Foods or you're at Sephora or Ulta or wherever, and you pick up a product and you look at the ingredient list, or maybe you pick it up and it's in plastic and you're like, done, I'm not putting that on. I can find something better. There's better options and better alternatives. So I help women find those and make the switch. And it's amazing how quickly women can feel better and look better too, because you're going to be putting premium ingredients on your skin that's full of vitamins and antioxidants and essential fatty acids and, all of those good things on your skin.
Yeah, and for all the women listening, you're worth it because I would imagine these products are probably more expensive, but you're definitely worth it. How much more expensive would you say they are than some of these others?
That's it. That's really an interesting question. And it's the biggest myth that the beauty industry really wants you to think. So
Mm.
first of all, there's two myths that the beauty industry really wants women to think. First of all, natural doesn't work is the biggest myth. They want you to believe that natural doesn't work because they don't want you to switch to natural. And the second is that it's expensive. It's too expensive. It costs a lot more money. So the first one being that it doesn't work is totally false. When you think about feeding your skin, vitamins, essential fatty acids, all of the good things that your cells, when it comes down to, life in general, if your cells aren't happy and healthy, you're not going to be happy and healthy. Well, it goes for beauty as well. So you're not going to be happy, healthy, or have, beauty, beautiful, radiant skin as well. But when you're feeding your skin the nutrients that it needs to detox and increase cell turnover, you're going to have better skin. You're going to actually be increasing collagen production, increasing elastin production. You're going to have better circulation in the skin. The skin is just going to look better. I've been saying this for years. I had before I made the switch, I was in my 30s. I was 39 years old, and I had acne, really bad acne. I had taken Accutane twice in my earlier years and done all the things. I'd been on prescription medications and over the counter, all this stuff. Nothing ever worked until I made the swap, and my acne went away. My oily skin went away. My skin, my scars faded. All the bad stuff went away. And it's really because you're actually giving your skin what it wants instead of dehydrating it and drying it out and giving it synthetic ingredients all the time. It's kind of like fast food. If you're going to eat McDonald's every single day, you're probably not going to feel good.
Mhm.
But, swap to eating clean food, natural food, and you're going to feel so much better. So the same thing, if you're using, I call it fast food for your skin. Most skincare products are fast food. They're made like McDonald's. They're full of preservatives and artificial things and synthetic ingredients. And so if you're going to feed your skin fast food every day, it's going to look like you feed it fast food. But if you make the swap to clean, natural ingredients, which is not hard to do, your skin is going to revive and revitalize. And your skin actually regenerates, your cells regenerate about every 40 days. So that's the good thing. You're not stuck with the skin you have. Just like everything else, it heals, it regenerates, and it turns over. So, in about 40 days, you can have a whole nother look. The second point was, what was the second one? It's, the
Lost.
money. So cost. Yeah. Here's the interesting thing. Most beauty products, when you look on the market, and if you're buying good products, you're spending, good money. Like some women are spending $200 or $300 on a serum. But you can find good face serums for around $40, $50. When you make this swap, most of the products that I recommend are the same price as the chemical-based ones. Here's the kicker. Because you got rid of all the synthetic ingredients, because you got rid of the artificial and all the water and all of the things that come with that, you're left with only the good stuff, and you use so much less. So the $40 watered down moisturizer is probably going to last you a month, whereas the one made with all the good stuff that costs the same amount, maybe $10 more, will probably last you 3 to 4 months. So you're
Wow.
going to get 3 to 4 times the amount. And this goes for deodorant. This goes for almost every product that you would make a swap for. So the price tag that the beauty industry wants you to think, oh, it's too expensive. It's really not in the long term. And then we didn't even get into what kind of health issues. Like, talk about the woman who was, she's a nurse. She was has autoimmune, and she's coming down on her medications. So that means her body's getting better and healthier. She's not going to need as much, support, and hopefully down the road can eventually get off support. But she's not going to do that if she continues to feed her skin with the hormone disruptors and the chemicals that are causing the inflammation and making her body sick.
Mhm. So you talked a little bit about some of the simple tips to avoid relying on the environmental working group. So what are some of those tips that when somebody's reading labels that they can feel confident with a product that they're purchasing?
Yeah, and this is all, I go through all of this in my program for women, and I spell it out very, very easy. It takes you less than 3 seconds. But, a take home, anybody that wants to investigate and you're going to start flipping over your labels, my biggest thing is look at the packaging. Is it in plastic? Notice the packaging first, and then what's the first ingredient or the first couple ingredients? Do you recognize them? Is water listed as the first ingredient? Some people ask me, Trina, what if it's purified? Is it okay if it's purified or distilled? And while purified and distilled water isn't going to have the contaminants that tap water would have, and by the way, if it doesn't say it's purified or distilled, most likely it's tap water. But the difference, the other problem, there's two problems with water, and one is the contaminants. The second piece of it is water dehydrates the skin and will actually cause premature aging or accelerated aging. So you have to look at the product. If you're using a moisturizer, either for your body or your face, and the first ingredient is water, well, I have something to tell you. It's not going to fix your dehydrated skin. It's actually going to make it worse. So there's two problems with water, and so some people look at me and go, but yeah, but, and I'm like, yeah, but one of the yeah buts is always the big thing is peptides, putting peptides in skincare. And peptides are great, right? But most of the peptides in skincare are synthetically made. So that means they're synthetic. They are lacking some of the things that, natural peptides would have. And they're not as easily utilized by the body, but also they're water-based. They have to be dissolved in water. So when someone tells me they're using a peptide cream, I'm like, yes, and that's not going to do you any good in the long run. Might get some short-term benefits. You might see some benefits with your skin because people are like, but I saw my skin's looking really good. I'm like, just give it a couple more weeks. The water's going to catch up. It's going to dehydrate you, all the other toxins, long term, it's not going to do your skin any good. But if you make the conversion to plants, now think about plants. Plants are in the elements. They have to deal with radiation and pollution and viruses and bacteria. They have to, provide their own protection. So you're getting the benefit of all of that. Pumpkin seed is one of my favorite, we're recording this, it's the fall. One of my favorite seasonal skin food items that I will put in my products or look for products that contain is pumpkin seed oil. Pumpkin seed oil has 17 natural peptides in it. So would you rather use something that has pumpkin seed oil in it, or would you rather use a synthetic that has water and all the chemicals? My guess is most people, especially if they're here with you, are going to go, wait, pumpkin seed, did you say that has 17 peptides? Yes. Here's another one that'll blow your mind. Red raspberry seed oil. People are so worried about the sun. And, I'm of the theory that, yes, you need sun protection, but you don't need, if you're eating right and your body's healthy, you don't need as much sun protection because your body's meant to make its own and, protect you. However, I do believe in helping the body along, but red raspberry seed oil has a natural SPF of between 30 and 60. So that's a big wow. Not only does it have an SPF, 30 to 60, but it's very high in antioxidants. So while the sun is creating free radical damage right there at the surface of your skin, instead of your body having to deal with it, you put red raspberry seed oil on, and the red raspberry seed oil will help neutralize those free radicals so you never even have the damage. And of course it absorbs into your skin, so you're going to get that protection not just on the surface of your skin but interior of your skin as well. So those are just some of the ways that using plants will actually protect you and your health in ways that nothing synthetic really can.
Mm-hmm. So for people listening, they might start to get overwhelmed by all of the things potentially. They think about all of their skin products. So what's a good plan? How do you recommend that people go about doing this in their lives?
I start it simple and I walk people through, you start with your basics. What are you using every day? And the easiest thing to start swapping out would be dental, because a lot of people aren't going to care about swapping out something that costs them $10 or $7, $10 for a toothpaste and swapping it with something that's better. But I actually in my program get women switched over immediately because in the very first module, the second lesson is a detoxification. And I use an ingredient that most people have in their home. So they don't even have to leave their house. They can start it right away and start getting the changes. And that will take care of your face routine, your face and even your body, moisturizing. And then you're doing this detox, and you can do the detox for a week all the way up to 30 days if you want. In the meantime, we look at, you're learning about the products and the ingredients and what to swap out so you can get your game plan. And for most people, once they do this and they go through the detox and they start to feel better and see, like literally within about a week, a lot of people are noticing the changes in their skin and other people are noticing, they're getting compliments. So about a week to 10 days in, you're not as leery about throwing away that $100 serum that you now know is poison and going to be causing more harm than good, and swapping it with other simple things. So in my program, I do offer some simple recipes. So if you want to start making your own, it's very easy. That's the other myth the beauty industry doesn't want you to know, that they want you to think it's complicated. It's going to take you forever. But I've whipped out face serums and face moisturizers and face washes and body oils in under 10 minutes. And what
Oh,
I teach is how you can do that and make a big enough batch that could even last you up to 2 years. Once you find what you like and you know you're going to use it, you can whip up a batch that can last you 2 years at a fraction of the cost. So I teach women, pick what you want. If you're into making your own, pick the things you want to make and then outsource or buy the rest. If you don't want to make your own because you just feel like that's not for you, that's fine. I also give you the options of the places or the things that I recommend, because it's really important for everyone to have sources of what brands or what things they can go to and look at. So that's what I offer. And it actually works very good. Most women are amazed at how quickly they see a difference and how much they didn't understand in the beauty industry.
brilliant. Yeah. So tell us more about your program. How do you work with people?
Yeah, so it's a self-paced. So it's a 5 modules, and there's about probably 30 videos in there, 30 different lessons, but it's self-paced. So you can take 5 weeks to do it, or you can take 10 or 12 or whatever, however long you need to get through it. Most of the women are getting through it in about 5 weeks because they're going through it and they're learning so much. But the first, module, and I'm available, of course, in my community. I have a community. So when you do the program, you get a month for free in the community, and then you can join if you want. But inside the community is where I answer questions, and I'll do Q&A, and I do little lessons and things like that inside the community. So you also get that support from me when you're going through the program, as well as the other members who were there with you at that same spot. So it's very supportive of, women helping women. But the first module is all about the beauty industry and the back end stuff that you really need to know. You need to understand this stuff. And the reason I'm very big on education, and people are always like, can't you just tell me what brand to use? And I'm like, no, I can't, because I know that things change. And if I tell you this brand is good, this brand might have 3 good products, but the rest are bad. Or they might change their ingredients. Like, I was talking about earlier, they could change their ingredients. I'm not doing you any good just by telling you what to use. You need to understand it so that you can continuously be looking at your ingredients and making sure that the brand hasn't changed or that product is still good. So that's the back end. And again, in that first module, I get you started on detoxing your body and your skin right away. And then the second module is all about like face cleansers. What do you want to, what do you need? Why is it that your skin is always dry? And by the way, most of the time, the cleansers that you're using are causing the dry skin. Most people don't think that, but it's stripping off your natural oil. So I teach you what to look for, how to make sure you're getting a good cleanser or making your own cleanser, going through serums and moisturizers and treatments and all of that. The next module is all about makeup, because as women, that is probably the most toxic product that we use. Most makeup is using, or all makeup uses, minerals for color, and minerals are washed in chemicals. So it's, no makeup is really good at this point, but there are some that are way better than others. So I go into makeup. The next module is all about dental health. I get you on a really good dental health program because, of course, good health starts inside the mouth. It's the gatekeeper or the window to internal health. So dental health is extremely important. And then the last module is all about body. So there's sun protection, deodorant, body care, shaving cream, things like that are all in the last module. So I've got you completely covered. And so about 5 weeks, you're feeling good, you're looking good, hopefully you're starting to notice some changes in your body. Maybe you don't feel as tired, or, the brain fog's going away. And some of those symptoms that you might have been dealing with might be resolving in the time, that you're going through the program. So that's my goal, and that's my hope.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Such an important topic and such important work that you're doing. So we're going to drop all the links below, and when people click on that link, I think that they get additional $200 off. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. It's the Holistic Health and Beauty Reset Program. And so, yes, just make sure that you click the link in the program because you'll get $200 off with that link. So, yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, we'll drop that below. We'll drop your Instagram handle. Anything else you want to talk about before we adjourn?
I just want everyone to realize that don't be overwhelmed. I know. So basically what I did, I have almost 20 years of doing this. And it can be overwhelming if you think about it and you do it the way that I did it and you're trying to figure it out on your own. But I did the research, I did all of the work, and I've completely simplified this. I have women of all ages going through this, including women in their 80s who are like, I don't even care what I look like. I just want to feel better. So it's really a program for everyone. And you're not stuck with what you're doing today. It's time to make a switch. And if you're not going to eliminate these toxins, this is a root cause for, a lot of health issues. So yeah, that's a problem. So yes, I've simplified it. I've made it easy. You get my 16 to 20 years of experience down into 5 weeks. And I figured out how to do it, and I'm just sharing it with everyone.
Yeah, and that's why people pay for a program like that is because they want to compress time, right? You don't want to wait 5 or 10 years in order to feel better, right? You want to do everything that you possibly can in order to do so, and making an investment like that allows you to get there faster, right? The only thing that we don't have an extended amount of it's really time, right? We all get about the same amount of time, so really important to make that kind of investment in your life because it's going to pay dividends for sure. And whenever I talk about toxins, it's always this two-pronged approach where it's you have to decrease the exposures that you have, and then you have to get rid of the toxins out of your body. And you can't get better if you're not decreasing your ongoing exposures. So such important work that you're doing, Trina. So thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
I hope you learned something on today's podcast. If you did, please share it with your friends and family and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. It's really helpful for getting this information out to more people who desperately need it. Sharing all the experts I know and love and the powerful tips I have is one of my absolute favorite things to do. Thanks for being part of my community. Just a reminder, this podcast is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional care by a doctor or other qualified medical professional. It is provided with the understanding that it does not constitute medical or other professional advice or services. Thanks for listening, and have an amazing day.